This is live. This is happening.
This is live. Hey, welcome everybody. Josh Rees on the MVP cast, How to Become More, myself and Francois. We have a special guest today, Emily Aborn. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Good to have
Yeah.
you, Emily.
Go ahead, take it away, Francois.
No, I was going to say, good to have you, Emily. Happy for you to be here. And we're live on many platforms right now, so this is exciting. So it's as real as it gets.
I feel like we're practically famous. So
There you go. Practically. That's it. Oh, we are.
That's a good way to put it because, we're on our way there, right? I mean, the only way to get to Broadway is to take one step at a time.
It's true.
So
Yes.
Awesome. Well, Emily is a content writer and she has the trademark She Built This. Go ahead and share a little bit about yourself, an introduction.
Okay. Thank you for that opportunity. So, as you said, I'm a content writer, which means I write websites and social media and blogs and all of that fun stuff that people get really stuck on. Like, what am I supposed to say on my website? What am I supposed to say on my emails? What am I supposed to say on social media? I handle all of that for them and I make it sound like them. So it's not like me talking, it's truly their words and speaking to who they want to speak to. And then She Built This is like a community for women entrepreneurs. And I'm a woman entrepreneur. So that was an easy connect to make. I see like women entrepreneurs struggling with so many of the same things over and over and over again. And I was like, we just need to all come together and put our brains together and help each other through these things. So that's kind of where that was born. And I truly wake up every single day absolutely loving what I do.
Excellent. And this is such a thing that for so many entrepreneurs, what do I write? How do I write? Does it sound good? Is it what I mean? And then we're stuck thinking that we have to do it all ourselves. We don't. If you're good at what you do, guess what? Other people are good at what they do. And when we get together, that's when we get to the next level. So I appreciate that because sometimes it's like looking at a blank sheet of paper. How should I say it? And you know it. And what I love that you said, Emily, is that you speak it into the voice of the person. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what unites us. I think about this a lot. I'm like, that is actually what unites us as entrepreneurs. Like we all need content, like no matter what form you share it in or like this is a great example. This is a form of content. Like we all need something. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And so today we talk about how we get entrepreneurs fired up because that's what it's all about. Because we get bombarded and hit every day on challenges, but we know that there's a better thing that we want to do out of this. And so this platform helps us to do this. So what gets you fired up about becoming an entrepreneur?
Oh, what gets me fired up? Well, I just love watching other people succeed. And so I love to be a part of that journey. Like sometimes I say that my clients' wins are my wins. I really feel that when another person is growing and I get to be like a piece of that, that is a big win for me. So
That's awesome. I like the fact that you said you like to be part of your client's success. And I call this psychic money. It's not about the money for itself, but actually the pleasure that derives from this happening. This is the thing that keeps you going. And someone that is actually the only people that get on this show are people that are heart-centered and service-driven. It's a must. And so you've just portrayed that 100%. I appreciate it. And likewise with Josh, with the insurance field, whatever he does to make sure that it protects the people and myself for business performance. I'm so happy when I get messages from the client saying, I did this, I did that. Oh, right on. This is what we want. And we celebrate with them. And that's what gets me fired up and them as well, because success is contagious. That's awesome.
and you know what? The heart-centered path, like it's not always the easiest path, right? Like it does mean that you are going to care more about your clients and about their success. But I do think that for me, it's the path that I've chosen and I feel that it's the better one for me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I'll speak to that for a second. For you, Emily, being what you do, you're providing a service that people will need infinitely, right? It really doesn't end unless they go out of business, right? Because we always need content. There's no such thing as too much. And I love how you said that you're heart-centered because you know that if your clients win, you're going to win, and it just keeps evolving from there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. So tell us, I mean, you kind of shared a little bit, but can you give us a little more insight on what you love most about what you do? for your clients?
Well, I'll tell you what. When I was a little girl, my grandmother gave me this white book, like a blank book. Okay. And I felt like I was always like writing stories and all this stuff. And I had notebooks like coming out of my eyeballs with like journal entries. But my grandmother gave me this book for Christmas. And I felt like I had to have the perfect message in like, or the perfect story in that book. Like I could not start writing in that book until it was like absolutely 100% perfect. So I will say that like the writing bug has been part of my life since I was like a very, very little girl.
Hmm.
But it wasn't until I realized that like we actually have to put things out there imperfectly, um, that I could start calling myself a writer. Like I did not want to even classify my own self as a business owner, as a writer, until I knew it was perfect. And I actually like went back to that story and I was like, oh no, it does not need to be perfect. So I think like for me as a writer, and I don't even remember what your question was, but
Oh,
I just think like we put a lot of pressure on ourselves for things to be 100% perfect all of the time. And it often comes from like something, that we held on to since we were little kids. So all that to say, I love writing. I've always loved writing, and I think part of what I do is help take some of that pressure off of my clients, that what they're doing needs to be absolutely perfect, not just in writing, but in their business in general.
yeah,
And
no, and you did answer the question. It was what you love about it, and you kind of gave us, the backstory of how writing evolved for you and your love for it. And I think that's one of the biggest things that entrepreneurs sometimes misunderstand is it's all about collaboration, right? And bringing yourself together with other people, and that's how you evolve and grow your business. Everybody, like I always say with Francois, everybody needs a coach in their life, right? Everybody needs a writer if they're not one themselves, right? And I think most people are not writers, so I'm sure you're very in demand.
one thing that you touched upon that I like is that, and I just saw myself with my grandma. She gave me a gift, so I want to make sure that I make the best out of it. So I can see you as a little girl, want to make sure that whatever you put in there is going to be the best. And so and because of that, you stopped yourself from writing in that book for the longest time. And we do it ourselves. We
Mhm.
think it needs to be perfect. Now, I read this thing in a book a little while back that I thought was absolutely wonderful, and I want to share with all the entrepreneurs. If you're an entrepreneur and you think that whatever you're doing is not perfect, that is good. That means that your heart's at the right place and you want to make sure that you contribute to the crowd or the people that you talk to in a proper way. You don't want to be phony, you don't want to be an imposter, but you want to share from the heart. And the fact that you're not 100% comfortable with this makes you genuine and is the surefire say that you are heart centered and service driven because you want to make a difference and you want to make it right. But it's okay, ladies and gentlemen, to feel inadequate. Just go forward, polish that skill, and it gets better and better because others need to hear your voice as well. That's awesome.
Indeed. Indeed. And we all have some imperfection, and that's okay. When we acknowledge that we're all slightly imperfected, right? We can all grow together in that imperfection.
Yeah,
And,
and
and
I think we put so much pressure on like the one idea, even the one business. Like you are allowed to have lots of different businesses in your life. You are allowed to have lots of different ideas. You can write lots of books. There doesn't have to be the one. So I think that's kind of what came out of that for me.
that's
Yeah.
cool. And
Awesome.
that leads right into the next one is we all have challenges. So what's the biggest challenges you faced in your professional life and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, this is a great question. And I know it's something that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, and that is setting boundaries. That has been probably one of my bigger challenges. And the way that I have overcome it is first, I had to get really, really uncomfortable with the way that I was letting my boundaries be trampled. Just like let's use like for example, answering your phone at all hours for anybody, for any client that needs you, you're answering your phone at 9 o'clock at night and you're like, why am I doing this to yourself? And it feels awful. But you just keep on letting it go, keep on letting it go, keep on letting it go. And it gets to a point where it's just so uncomfortable that you realize you have to change it. So that's happened to me in many times, and I've taken many baby steps to setting better boundaries for myself, and that includes anything from like how long I want to be on my computer every day to how much time I'm spending with my family to how many hours I'm working on a client's stuff. To my communication process the whole way through. So it's been a series of steps, but I think like, I often say that the only way through is through. And I think sometimes when it comes to boundaries, the only way to like really know what your limits are is to experience the discomfort when somebody's trampling over them. And this is the worst part about boundaries is like we're letting people trample over them most of the time. And so you have to turn the mirror back on yourself and say like, all right, what am I doing? And what's the belief like underlying this? Why do I feel that my time is not as valuable as this person's time?
And we all got hit pretty hard, each and every one of us, with COVID that made us work at home a lot. And now boundaries, like we're in business all the time, everywhere, because it's the environment that we're in. And so that created, as you say, a lot of let's get back together on it. And that's why one of the things that I focus most on is clarity. You need to be clear as to what it is that you want, your time, what is it that you spend, what is it that you love to do, when you're going to study, when you stop, family time. Clarity is a foundation thing to help us set those boundaries and then respect them, because we respect ourselves, as you said. If you start letting go, next thing you know, you're not doing it anymore. And so you set the boundaries, then you do it. And that's good. You don't need to work 24/7. That's not good. That's burnout stuff. Yeah. But yeah, that's great though. And going through that for sure.
And I think when you really find a way that works for you and like you stick to that, that's good for you. That's good for your creativity. It's good for your productivity, your efficiency, but it's also really good for your clients. Like when I get to work at my very best and I don't let my boundaries be trampled, I'm doing the very best job for my clients all of the time. So that's another thing to keep in mind is like, it allows you to love both people, yourself and them at the right distance.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. And I was going to say to that point too, people will respect you and your time when you respect it. Right. Mm-hmm. And that's by having those boundaries in place, like you said, and having that clarity so that you're highly efficient and you can give your best to each and every client, as that is your intention. That is awesome. Well, on that note, let's transition. What kind of words of encouragement would you give to an entrepreneur out there, maybe having issues with their content or boundaries, or any words of wisdom?
Okay, so my word of wisdom isn't really necessarily, well, I'll give you a content one and then I'll give you like a general one. But my content one is like, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. So if you're writing a blog or you're doing a podcast or you're making social media posts, you can keep on using that for like other things. Like just because you wrote an email doesn't mean it can only be an email. It can be a lot of other content. So just, and I know there are lots of people talking about content repurposing, but it has a lot of value and that's why we keep talking about it. But for business in general, I think I would say do not be afraid to fail, because your next failure is most likely the stepping stone to what is actually going to be a success for you. And I had a retail business, and I wouldn't say that it failed, but I would say that my expectations of it failed. So in my mind, I failed myself, like this was going to be my 10-year plan and it didn't work out that way. So I failed. If it was not for that retail business, I would not be where I am today because of all of the connections I made through that store. And just like the rambly road that it took me to get to where I am, I'm so grateful for, like that is a huge success. So I think we just have to it's so easy to tell a kid that falls off the bike, like, get back on the bike. You got this. But when it comes to ourselves, it's like we have to almost like parent ourselves, and remind ourselves that when you're learning, when you're trying things, failure is totally normal. And it's also the path, the door to your next thing or the success that is going to come.
That's why having a coach is monumental.
Indeed.
Monumental. You can't do it alone. I like my little guy here. This is a gold medal. I'm a Canadian champion in Taekwondo. And so I had to fail and go and see the master. And he tells me again and encourage me. And then as you continue to push, then you get the rewards. There's no such thing as getting to the top without paying the price. There's no such thing. There's no free ride. Everybody needs to take the stairs. There's no elevators. The nice part about taking the stairs, once you get there, you got strong legs, a better heart, and then you can enjoy the view because you made it. And so, all this to say, we need to get fired up with what it is that we're doing, but have clarity and a reason, your why to do it, in order to help you go at it. And in the chat that we had before, you talked about before someone throws in the towel. What do you suggest that people do? Because it's going to be a transition with what I just said. What you mentioned something, and I loved it about before you throw the towel. Be sure you give what enough what
time.
Yes,
And consistency. Like, are we just throwing spaghetti at the wall, or are we giving something time and consistency to stick, and really, and like, I mean, I could go on about this forever, but like doing market research and talking to your friends and like getting out of your own head sometimes is, I mean, that's what stops me from throwing in the towel on various things, ideas, projects, whatever it is. I have to get out of my head and get some external feedback from people that can that know me and that know who my ideal clients are. And then you have to give things time. You really have to give things time.
nice. Be
Absolutely.
patient with ourselves.
Yeah. And there's I forget where I got it from, but the little nugget I want to share on that is, failures and obstacles. If you view them as more of something that instructs instead of obstructs, you can kind of push through that, right? You got to be able to prepare and know there's going to be setbacks, there's going to be obstacles, but that doesn't have to stop you, right? It's meant to instruct you. It fine tunes your skills so that next time you hit that same roadblock, well, hey, you're going to go right through it, right? Mm-hmm. And now you're on to the next challenge.
Cool.
Was that you, Francois, that I got that?
That's all. Well, what I say is that the truth is the truth. Sometimes it comes from this side or that side, but it doesn't change. If you get for the flavor of the month, you're going to waste things. You're going to waste time. But if you go with principles, they're eternal. And so, and that's how it's a sure foundation that we can have. That's, for sure. Talk about foundation. Do you have a special MVP, like a mission, vision, and passion formula that you can share with the audience?
Oh my goodness, I don't think I do. Did I write one down?
Yeah, so you have my podcast pitching guide.
Oh, got it. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't understand the question. Yeah, one thing I'm really passionate about is when we are marketing ourselves to get more visibility and be on podcasts and even like guest blogging. Like I see so many people just randomly pitching people and not having any research behind it or personality into it. So I put together a podcast pitching guide, mostly because honestly, as a podcaster, I get really annoyed when people send me cold pitches. And I was like, I need to help these people. So that's right on my website, EmilyAborn.com. And it's just free to download. And it really walks you through first of all, why you might consider pitching to podcasts, and then things that you need to think about from the podcaster's perspective before sending them, that email that you're just blasting out to 20 podcasters.
Yes, no.
So obviously we didn't violate that rule for you, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
You made a connection with me about what we had in common. And I think that's so key. That's so important, is okay, what is the context for this conversation?
Right.
Yeah. Yes. We like winners. We like to associate ourselves with people that make things happen. And that's why we're here together. And it's lives because it's raw and it is what it is, because that's what entrepreneurship is. Sometimes you got to jump in and then you learn to swim while you're in there. And if there's others, we can help one another to sustain. That's why you can't do it alone. We need to be a team. And what does your team look like? And if it's not floating right now, well, maybe you need team members in order to help you keep it afloat, because we have so many things to do. So many things. But that's all right. It's good. Anything but a job.
That's right.
I don't like someone telling me what to do. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Well, furthermore, job is just over broke, and who wants to live like that, right?
Absolutely.
So what? One of the things was, I think you mentioned a summer gala that's on your next big to do project list. Can you kind of share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I live in New Hampshire, and I try to mix it up, between a lot of virtual options for my members and also in-person things, because now we can start to get together a little bit more in person.
Yeah.
So we're having a networking day, and we're going to hear from 4 really successful panelists, like very similar to what you guys do. I just kind of come and bring questions and let them share their insights. And I think it's just going to be a really lovely day of everybody like reconnecting. So it's not too late to get tickets for that if you want, and I'll make sure you guys have the link for that.
Yeah, we'll put links to everything below the podcast. You always have the links that are live there so that the people can actually connect with you, with us. And so definitely to make it available, because that's what it's about. As we said, we're not an island on our own. And so if we can mingle with others, we'll find nuggets of information. Like right now, ladies and gentlemen, as you're listening to this, driving or whatever you're doing, try and find something, a nugget for you, how it can help you, and then use it. That's how you maximize the use of your time of these podcasts that are there. Because all the things that we say, maybe just a portion of it applies to you. So that's okay. Use that portion and make the most of it. That's how we grow and help others grow as well. Awesome.
And honestly, if it's something that like makes you mad or you disagree with or that fires you up, I feel like that's great too, because I was in a training on Monday. I found myself getting super irritated at what the message was, and it gave me an opportunity to look at why, and like really think about it and get clearer on what my why was, what my reasoning was for choosing my thoughts. So even if something makes you mad or you disagree with it, I think that there's even value in that if you allow yourself to get curious with it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Opportunity and everything. So we welcome it all. And thank you for pointing that out, Emily. Good, bad, indifferent. Let us know what your thoughts and feelings are. And we're welcome to take those and build from. Absolutely.
Cool.
What kind of legacy are you looking to? You mentioned some legacy things for your future. Can you tell us a little bit about that? You have a friend, I think, that had your friend passed away. So
Yes.
sorry to hear that.
So I had I think this is what I want my legacy to be. I had a friend that is just like the epitome of like joy and made you feel really, really good no matter who she was. Like if she went to the grocery line, that grocery person remembered her because of like the way she made them feel. And she was like she was like my best friend for my entire life until I was 33. And I just want to be like that. Like I want people to remember me as the person that made them feel appreciated and worthy and seen and valued. I think that would be my legacy. I don't have children, so I don't get to like leave anything special to them, but I want my nieces and nephews to feel that way, and every single person that I interact with.
Indeed.
That's awesome. I love that thing. Now you touch a chord that is very, very near and dear to me. And Bob Proctor, my top mentor and coach, mentioned that one thing that will transform your life more than anything else is to live the following way. Leave everybody you meet with the impression of increase. Whenever you leave someone, they feel better because they have met you. Not because you're good. It's because you forget about yourself and you focus on them. It says it's not what you have or what you did that will impress people when you pass. It's how you made them feel. So let's refrain from making people feel bad about being around us and let them feel good about being about us. And then it has this magic return on it. And it's that word that sometimes people have a hard time with, saying, I don't know how to do it. And that word is referrals. If you leave everybody you meet with the impression of increase, referrals will come to you, because people will want to be around you. So that's one of the best characteristics to develop in our lives. Like you said, Emily, is to develop like your friend. Was it Anna, her name?
Yeah. Yep.
Anna, like your friend Anna said, that, you said wherever she go, people felt better. And that's good. That's a good thing. That's why she made an impact on you. And you said she's always happy. Well, let me tell you, you have a beautiful smile. You seem to be happy yourself. So she did a good job in leaving a legacy with you as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Indeed. And that positive energy comes back to you tenfold. It truly does. Especially when you have somebody that's not so, if you interact with somebody not doing so well, right? And you just embrace them with a high level of positivity and happiness. And they're just like, man, like it almost stuns them in a sense, like, wow, what's up with this guy? I want to be like them, or this gal, right? I need what they have, because you lift them up.
I got to bring it back to boundaries. Like, I think one of the ways that you really can cultivate that in yourself is taking care of yourself too, like not in a selfish way, but like setting boundaries, once again, it's not selfish. It's also about caring for the people around you, because when you're filled up, then you can fill other people's cup up too. And it doesn't feel like you're like pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring. It just feels like this is just my way of being, you know? So
Nice.
yeah.
Absolutely. Natural flow. I love that. I love that. So one of the things that we asked you is if you had a superpower, what would that be and why?
I mean, I want to read minds. I don't think it's a good thing though. I don't think it would be good, but it is a superpower I think I would always love to have. And I think it's because I have a tendency to make up a lot of stories in my head about what people are thinking. And I would just like to know the truth about what people are thinking, you know, and not have to like go down that downward spiral.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Bob Proctor said, I said, "Oh, I'm worried about what people think about me." And he said, and this is a tongue twister, but it's pretty cool. It says, "People think of you what you think they think." So
Oh
what?
my gosh.
But basically, it's stories that we make up.
Totally.
People are nice. Most human beings, I think it's the exception. Most human beings are nice. They are. And
Yeah.
sometimes they might have a bad day, and because they have a bad day, they might be more irritant or irritable or irritant to us. But it's because they're having a bad day. But most people are nice inside, and if we look at that part of them, then everything gets to be so much nicer for all of us. So what they think, you think, they think about them. So it's your own projection of your own limitations on them that you think they think, and they don't even think about that.
There's a really good quote along those lines. It's less of a tongue twister that it says, do not confuse with malice that which can otherwise be attributed to, and I think it's like stupidity or ignorance or something like that. But it's true. Like I sometimes I let myself think like, oh my God, that person doesn't like me or whatever the thing is, but they just forgot to respond to the email or forgot to respond to a text or something like that. So yeah, I probably don't really want to read minds, but I think I do.
Yeah.
It'd be an interesting thing. What's that movie with? I can't remember. He was hearing all the thoughts of the women,
Oh yeah.
and he was freaking out. I can't remember the title, but
Oh, you talking about Shallow Hal?
What I think it's called What Women Want.
yes, was something like that. And so I can't remember the name of the actor. It's funny, but
It's got to be Jim Carrey. I mean, he's
no,
the
it's
oh
I think it's on. It doesn't matter. Anyways,
yeah yeah
it's funny. He's like, after a while, he can't take it. So it's the curse of the blessing. You know, I hear what they think, but then sometimes you don't want.
yeah
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well,
That's
Shallow Hal was like that too.
yeah. I think you're right.
Do you
So,
remember
what's
that?
your superpower, Josh?
What's my superpower?
That you'd like to have?
Fly.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
You know what? I'm gonna change my answer. I'm gonna pick fly.
Oh, are you letting what other people think?
or tell like somewhere I can get places fast because I don't really like traveling. So there you go. Thank you, Josh. You inspired a real one that I would like to have. I'd like both. I'd like both.
Yeah.
There you go. That's
I know
awesome.
it's funny. I think a lot of people would say like they want to read minds, and like Francois said, and and thinking about it and just listening to you, like I think it would be cool to read minds, but then at the same time, like I feel like it would kind of be a hindrance because
Yeah.
then like you're rethinking yourself and like you're understanding these thoughts and you're like, oh man, like it kind of works against you in a sense, right? Versus just, hey, do you be the best you can be, leave everybody with an impression of increase and just move forward from there, right? Don't worry about, I've always practiced not worrying about what other people think of me. I just focus on giving as much as I can to them and let the rest follow from there.
All right,
Yes.
give me one day of mind reading, and then I'll let it go.
One day, you just want to see what it's like,
Yeah.
dabble the toe in the water and then dry it off, right?
Yeah.
Well, and as Francois mentioned, Bob Proctor says, you can tell a lot about what somebody's feeling and thinking by their physical form, right? Their
Mhm.
body language, their tonality, if they smile. Right? I mean, if you, and I've done this before, you drive down the road and everybody you see wave to them and smile at them, right? And you'll see what they give back, right? Most people won't even acknowledge you or they won't wave or, you're in the grocery store, right? Like your friend and you're just so positive. Hey, how you doing today? Right? Instead of the clerk asking you, did you find everything? Hey, I found everything. Thank you so much. The store is amazing. I'll be back next week. I mean, just really give them an abundance and it'll come back. It truly does.
Absolutely. You said though, mind reading. Let's get into something maybe to appease your desire of doing it. Tell you, Emily, when you are with a client and you're finding out about their industry, the problems that they solve, the way that they solve them, and then you become immersed into their world, then you start writing things, and basically you bring it this, oh, and they're going to say, well, you read my mind.
It's so, you know what? It is so
Yeah.
true, Francois. And I teach my clients this all of the time. Like, let's work on getting into your ideal client's mind and really think about what they're thinking about and what they're feeling. And I just got off a call with 100 questions I had for a woman about helping her get into her client's mind. So it is
See?
possible. It is possible to read minds.
You're doing it, and but actually, and also to do it genuinely, I think that there has to be, that's that word, genuine interest in finding out and asking questions that are probing and cleverly organized in order to structure this in a way that is great. So definitely, so it is possible, ladies and gentlemen, to read minds as we forget about ourselves and immerse ourselves in the needs of others, find out what it is that they want. The next thing you know, when we get in harmony, it works. I've been married for over 30 years. And oftentimes, my wife's my best friend. We have 6 kids. And so sometimes we look at each other and we know it. Like I can literally read her mind. And so likewise with me, but it's because we invested in it. Mm-hmm. And so when you invest in it, then you can get some rewards from it. That's cool. I like that. So yeah, mind reading is possible.
Yeah. So maybe you
Cool.
want to fly and read minds.
Yeah, I think I'm in on that. Sign me up for the flying classes.
Flying classes. Actually, there was this story. You talk about signing for the flying classes, and this is something that is important. Each and every one of you. I don't know about you, but I've taken some notes, and some that did. That's great. So these turkeys, they want to learn how to fly, and so they don't know how. And all of a sudden, they see a pamphlet that says flying lessons. They go, whoa, man, let's go flying lessons. So the whole crop, I don't know if you call them a crop, but they all go and they take the flying lessons. And the first week it's hard, second week, third week, they're flying, baby. And then the fourth week, they're really flying. And whenever the class is over, they walk back home.
Oh.
and so that question, it's funny, some humor on this, but when is it that you and I are learning things, we say it's great, and then we don't use it? What are we doing? We need to apply the knowledge that we get in order for it to be ingrained in us and then use it all the time. Let's not walk home when we have a vehicle that can make it faster.
I see a lot of entrepreneurs do this where they try to take like every single course, every single class, sign up for all of this stuff and then don't use it. Or they hire a service provider. I see this too. They hire a service provider and then they do not use what the service provider gave them. And it's like, it's really hard as a service provider when somebody doesn't use what you've provided them with, but you can't take it personally. But it's really doing a disservice when you hire somebody, expect something of them, and then don't do it, because you're going to just perpetually end up unsatisfied. Like, oh, those flying classes didn't work,
Exactly.
Here I am walking home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a while back you were flying. So yeah, it's important. So I have employees and I put them into programs for them to get better and better. And this last one that we're doing, I absolutely love it. And let's all adapt this. It says, learn a little and implement massively.
A lot.
Learn a little and implement massively. As you just said, Emily, people are trying to consume so much information. It just goes one ear out the other. And for me, information to create transformation needs integration. And for integration, we need to take the time. We need to apply and repeat. Then it becomes habitual. And so what happens with this is that a little bit of effort then creates a lot of results because it's an habitual. It doesn't drain you or take as much energy from you. So we have to stop trying to learn everything. Learn a little, implement massively, and see the transformation that comes into your life. That's great. That's great advice. Yeah, from me.
That is great. But One thing
Go
that
ahead.
she said, and I want to point out because I think a lot of entrepreneurs do this, and I have found myself in some ways doing it as well. And it's a lot of entrepreneurs get in business because they want to do things their own way, right? Everything is about freedom and it's my way, right? But what we have to understand is you have to be an intelligent follower in order to be an outstanding leader, and that takes having service providers like Emily, right, who does your content and gives you instruction on what you need to do and follow through with it, right? Because that's going to maximize her service to your business, and from there it just helps you build, right? And then again, like Francois said, narrowing in, right? You don't need 100 courses on how to write content. You just need to have a course
Emily.
that you do really
You
well,
just need Emily.
or get Emily, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Have Emily do your stuff and follow her lead. Follow her lead. It's okay to follow other people's lead. We're not, you can't be the master of all. You're just not going to do it. You're going to be a jack of all, master of none. So narrow in, do what you do best, and build others around you that can lift you up in the areas that are not your strong suit or not your expertise.
Mm-hmm.
Let's end on a good note. Emily, tell us a story of rags to riches, meaning someone that came with you totally disorganized, did not know how you structured and what happened. So I see that you're searching with your eyes right now to find out the best ideal set, but I'm sure it's coming.
So I have a woman. I mean, a lot of people come to me and they haven't posted on social media in a year. Okay, because they said, oh, I just can't be consistent with it, or I don't know what to say, and so they just don't do anything. And then you don't do anything one day, and then it becomes you haven't done anything in 365 days.
Ooh.
Well, one woman had this beautiful story. She's been in business for 12 years now, and she had a beautiful story of how her business started and like how it was a family business. And she was never posting anything. And she's like, I really want to celebrate my 12-year anniversary and start getting regular again. So she hired me for what's called I do like a content bank for people. So I'll build out like 60 posts, 80 posts, something like that. So we created this whole thing, which was like a storytelling sequence of the past 12 years of her in business. And this is just a tiny, tiny thing, but it goes to show you the power of like time and intention and consistency. One of her posts got the most engagement she's ever gotten in a social media post ever. And it was like not that groundbreaking. Honestly, it was just a little snippet of her personal story. And it got so many comments of just like how genuine she was and how much how excited people were for her 12th year, all of this stuff. So the truth is the story is in the everyday. Like someone said to me just the other day, oh my God, this finally got me off my butt to do something I've been wanting to do for 3 years, and it was like one little comment that someone in a group setting had made to her. So it's just like, honestly, like the stories are the little tiny things that's like mean so much, but we can't get out of our own way to make that happen, and sometimes it just takes somebody looking at it from the outside or giving you the permission to go ahead on your idea to let you fly.
Absolutely. Oh, so you're back to flying now.
I took it back to flying because I was at a loss there.
That's awesome.
There's a theme there, Francois. She really wants to fly.
And that's today's story. And actually, just to come back, that's what it is. When we tell stories, it's genuine. It's about us. It's about the journey. It's not just the end, but the struggles, and people can identify with this. And I'm sure that's a strength that you have in the post that you're doing. That's why the people engaged and was, oh, this is wonderful. 12 years. She was genuine with them, and they connected, which is awesome. Cool. Heart to heart, indeed.
And people love stories. People can always, because they can put themselves into the story, right? I mean, as Francois always says, we think in pictures, right? So when you hear a story, you're able to get a picture of the mind, right? And put yourself in there, and you have emotion that connects the pieces, right? So that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Appreciate that, Emily. We'll be sure to have all your socials in the comments in the description of where we post. Is there any final thoughts you want to share?
That's a lot of pressure.
Other than you want to really fly.
Yeah, no, I think, well, I'll tell you, I'll end with a fun fact. How's that?
Sure.
I love fun facts almost as much as I love stories. So my fun fact is that I have not ever gone skydiving, but I think this is my year. And I have assembled a team of 2 other people who would like to go with me. So I think in August we will be jumping out of an airplane.
That is awesome.
Three entrepreneurs jumping out of an airplane, so the world might be 3 entrepreneurs shorter.
No.
Not at all.
I skydive myself, and I'm telling you, it's so nice. You throw yourself out of there, and you're just flying. It is absolutely wonderful. You're gonna love it.
Okay.
And like anything, also, think about this. Once you're there, a story that you can write later on post. You're gonna be in that plane, and then you have to go. Well, according to Cessna, you have to go foot, hand, foot, and then you pull yourself out, and then you let go. These are the first jumps that you do. But at first, people they're on the threshold and they want to go, and not doing it. And then once they do it, then they go, woo! Then it's cool. For all entrepreneurs, oftentimes that's what it is. We're all dressed up, ready to go, and we're not doing it, and we're cutting ourselves short of the exhilarating experience of just taking actually a leap of faith, actually a jump. And as you do that, your life is transformed, and so can the lives of others.
That is awesome. You know, when you were just describing that, Francois, my hands got sweaty. I felt myself grabbing those bars about to jump out of that plane.
I know. I got butterflies. I'm like, I'm ready to do this today.
I encourage you, Emily.
I recommend it. It's really
you're going to do awesome. You're going to do awesome.
Absolutely.
And you're going to want to do it again and again and again.
Let us know. So what's the best ways? You have Instagram that you like best, LinkedIn, or what is it you like best?
I got to say, I'm pretty good on LinkedIn. Oh, sorry, on Instagram. So yeah, it's just Instagram, and my handle is Emily Aborn. So I'm the only Emily Aborn. I am the only one.
You are unique.
You should put like original or like official, right? Because you're the only one.
Yeah, but I don't need to because I am the only one.
There you go.
You're doing a great job. That's awesome. Thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate you. Thanks for dedicating yourself to help others get their story out of them and put them in a way that will engage other people to actually engage with them and grow, because people have stories inside of them that can help others. And the saddest thing is when that story dies inside of them. And Emily, you helped it bring it out. I thank you for that a lot.
Thank you for having me, both of you. It was so wonderful to talk to you.
Yes, thank you. So remember, everybody, leave others with an impression of increase. Check us out. Check out our other episodes, and look forward to next week. We have a new episode every week. Thank you, Emily, for coming on this week, and we'll have her information and link below. And you all make it a great day. We'll see you next time on the MVP Cast, How to Become More podcast. Thank you.
Thank
you, everybody. Have a great week. Thanks, Emily.
Thanks.